Hi, I'm Alex Coleman. I'm back with another video, and this is my recovery processes for 2.3. I'll start off by explaining what epoch is and in submaximal and maximal exercise. So epoch is excess post-exercise oxygen consumption above resting values. So when you're doing submaximal exercise, so the graph on the left, you won't be using much oxygen, so as you're not working that intensely, so you won't have a massive oxygen deficit, whereas in maximum exercise you will, so you have a much bigger oxygen deficit. But the benefit of not having an oxygen deficit that's that big means that you won't have as many waste products, so your epoch won't be that big, so it's very easy to recover from. Whereas in maximum exercise, where you have a big oxygen deficit, you'll have a much bigger epoch, which means you have more waste products and stuff to get rid of, so it will take a lot longer for you to recover. That's my section on epoch. Next section, so again, this is the epoch graph, but it's just explaining the alactic phase and the lactacid phase. So the lactacid phase is part A, and alactacid is part A, and the lactacid is B. And I'll go into more detail on what these are in the next slides. So fast component, or alactacid component, is so about the resynthesize of myoglobin, hemoglobin, and ATP-PC stores. So VO2, more oxygen is consumed to resaturate with myoglobin and also with hemoglobin. Also, oxygen will resynthesize ATP stores and PC stores. Once myoglobin combines with O2, it will take it to the mitochondria when exercise starts, so that you can start resynthesizing it and making the PC ATP for energy. And for myoglobin and hemoglobin, it will take approximately 0.5 litres of oxygen to fully recover, and also it will only take 1 to 2 minutes for you to recover 100% after exercise. Whereas for ATP-PC, you'll take 3 to 4 litres of oxygen and about 3 minutes for 100% recovery. But it can be quite quick sometimes, so to recover at ATP-PC 50%, it only takes 30 seconds, which is very quick. And to recover at 75%, it's only a minute, so you can recover most of it very quickly. It's just the last little bit which takes quite a while to recover. And next part, I'll be talking about the slow component, or the lactacid component. And so carbon dioxide is a waste product in the muscles, but it's really not harmful at all to us. So 3% of it gets dissolved in plasma, 23% of it gets carried by carbaminohemoglobin, and 75% of it gets carried in the dissolved in carbonic acid. So as you exercise more, more CO2 will become present in the muscles, which means your body will have to work harder to get rid of CO2, resulting in heart rate and stroke volume going up, and ultimately resulting in the cardiac output. And that will lead to CO2 getting around the body quicker, so it means it'll get to the lungs quicker, so it can get expelled out of your body quicker, and that's why CO2 is one of the least harmful parts to our body, because it can get removed so easily. The next part, lactic acid, is a lot worse and a lot harder to get rid of. So 65% of lactic acid is converted pyruvate, and 5% of it is converted into glucose, which is a part of gluconeogenesis. And 20% of lactic acid is converted into glycogen, which is then stored in the muscles. The Cori cycle is a process in which glucose gets turned into pyruvic acid, which that pyruvic acid will get turned into the lactic acid, and because the lactic acid is harmful to our body, the blood will take it away from our muscles to our liver, where it can get oxidized and then converted into glucose via gluconeogenesis, and gluconeogenesis is a way of producing glucose or glycogen from non-carbohydrate substrates, and then once it gets converted into the glucose, that whole process will go again until not necessary. Lactic acid still needs to be removed from the body, and the removal of lactic acid relies on the buffering capacity of the body, which weakens the effect of lactic acid. This is where hydrogen carbons are found in the blood and produced by the kidneys. They absorb lactic acid, and then that will form the carbonic acid, which means the lactic acid would get turned into a form of carbonic acid, and this is a good way of getting rid of CO2 and water by taking it to the lungs so it can diffuse into the alveoli, and when we exhale it just goes straight out of our body. And then there's some ways that athletes can improve their buffering capacity. One way they can do this is by drinking sodium bicarbonate tablets. Drinking sodium bicarbonate several minutes before a race. This can be good as it obviously improves performance. However, there are some bad side effects, which are vomiting and diarrhea. The next part we'll be talking about is glycogen. Glycogen is stored in the muscles and can take 2 hours to restore glycogen if you don't do that heavy exercise, or it can take a couple days. So an 800 meter sprint, it'll take only 2 hours, but if you did a marathon, it could take a couple of days to get all the glycogen back into your body. One way in which you can improve how much glycogen you use up is carbo loading, which is where you go 7 days before an event and you just try and stock up on as much carbohydrates, so eat as many carbohydrates as you can before your race, so you have loads of stores in your body, so that it takes a lot longer for those stores to run out, so you can keep running longer before you potentially hit the wall. Next section is metabolic needs. So metabolic needs are the extra VO2 consumed after exercise by organs, for example the heart and respiratory muscles. So of course the heart needs the oxygen so it can go into the blood, and then the blood can push the oxygen around the body to the working muscles. And the respiratory muscles, so lungs, stuff like that, also require additional oxygen so that you can constantly be breathing in and out and working it that way. And the last section is active recovery. So active recovery, this is DOMS is a part of active recovery, and this is a delayed onset muscle soreness. And delayed onset muscle soreness is basically after the day after a race or 2 days after a race, when you feel really sore and achy and just all horrible. This can be caused by injury to connective tissue, or excess mechanical forces can cause structural damage to your body, so a lot of it is a lot more painful and can start to hurt over time. Or if you start to break down muscle protein, this can cause inflammation, which stimulates local pain receptors, which obviously are very bad for you. But you can get rid of these, so you can do it by allowing the muscles to be flushed with oxygenated blood, and this will reduce the effects of the lactic acid and will also speed up your recovery. Is the skeletal muscle pump and lactate removal. So the speed of lactate removal depends on the severity of exercise and whether the athlete rests during recovery or performs light exercise during recovery. This can be seen in the study that Ahmadi et al. In 1996 did. He said that active recovery after an event encourages better recovery and reduces muscle lactate levels faster. So he did a test where he got two groups of people. One group after exercise completely recovered, completely rested, didn't do anything, and the other group did submaximal exercise at 30% intensity. And the active group that did the 30% intensity during their intervals reduced blood lactate levels faster and could achieve higher power output throughout their workout. So he was right in saying that you need to, if you do exercise, you need to do small bits of exercise in between your breaks instead of just completely resting, otherwise you won't fully recover completely. And the last little bit are some other strategies in helping the recovery after exercise. One of these is planning your recovery. So if you plan your recovery, you can increase the quality and intensity of the training, so you can plan out how you want to do it. You can plan out targets, you can go through with a personal trainer or someone on what better way there is to recover after doing a event or something. Another way is cryotherapy, and this is a form of using freezing objects such as ice bath or ice packs, and these both do the same thing, as they lead to vasoconstrictions of the veins and stuff like that. They also have a decrease in tissue metabolism, which decreases in pain receptors, and also they have a decrease in spasms. So they're very useful straight after an event if you want to just recover quickly. Warm-ups are a good way before an event to sort of recover. If you've done an event the next day, you better definitely do a warm-up, as they warm up all your body and relax all the muscles so that they're less tense. So if you didn't do a warm-up, you might snap on your muscles a lot easier as they're a lot colder, and it would be a lot harder to just do that. It would be a lot harder to run around and do stuff as your muscles aren't relaxed. So warm-ups are a very good way to relax your muscles and get it so that you won't get injured as easily. And that is my 2.3 fatigue and recovery PowerPoint done. Thank you for watching.